when you can find something that you are passionate about, regardless of what it costs you, it makes you feel fulfilled.
Of the revenue you make, right? Much like in a startup.
Yes, man, and let's get some of our old soldiers back out.
Musicians to be professional, they know how to talk.
To help them wake up happy. It's not about a rectangle at a price.
All right, y'all. We're tuning in for another episode of Bank That Radio Show, my third interview for 2024. Happy New Year to everybody out there. And y'all make sure y'all always support everybody that we bring on the platform. But today we have A.B. Ogini.
Yes, well done.
Get those names right. And A.B. is a fascinating person, a lifelong singer who has been speaking and writing songs since her teenage years. So that's a lot of experience and a lot of wisdom, a lot of I would say a variety of things. Because as a independent artist, I know y'all go through a lot of stuff. Maybe I want to get into it a little bit, and then also I think did you write as well a book or anything? Or
I did. That's
okay.
in the so I wrote a book, just came out last year, December, actually, 2023 December, called Pursue Your Passion, Uncover Your Calling.
See, exactly. So a lot of multifaceted person. I tend to realize creatives, right? We all have something in common. So I like to tell people I'm a little bit of a hybrid. I'm business and I'm creative, and I mix the two together. Now I've experienced where a lot of creatives are not business oriented. They have to be taught in that realm. But I do like the fact that creatives, just in general, they create in multiple lanes. So you might start out with music and then you master that and then you move on to something else. Sometimes, they go to acting and producing, and then also as an author, and being able to just take things that are intangible and make them tangible. I love the fact that creatives can do that. And, when you allow creatives to, function in their space, I think you get the best results possible.
Absolutely. I agree.
So tell us a little bit about your journey, what got you started, and, why even go down that road of creativity and music and, then eventually becoming an author.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me here.
You're welcome.
Now, I thought I was just going to be a pediatrician,
Okay.
Singing has always been something that I loved doing. I was certainly passionate about it. I started singing as a very little kid. My first solo in church was at 6 years of age.
Okay.
I thought I was just always going to do it in church. I never thought about doing it professionally. And I was a pediatrician, and I thought that was just my life's purpose, And then the pandemic happened, and the way everyone went back to doing things they loved, to doing things that fed their soul, maybe things they had pushed to the side. And for me, that was my music. So I started to write again. I started to really get back into the music community. And still, I thought it was just for fun. It was something that fed my soul. But then I started to feel like I could do more with it. I started to feel like I was called to it. And I essentially had an experience where I went to bed as a full-time pediatrician and woke up the next morning thinking, okay, I'm going to start doing this professionally. It was some sort of encounter. I can only call it a God encounter because it was like a switch just went off in my head.
Yeah.
And I suddenly realized that this gift wasn't just for my enjoyment. And this gift of songwriting and the songs that I had written weren't just for me, but they were for other people to hear. So I essentially started to learn about the music industry, and I started to learn about how to get my music produced professionally and how to, to release and promote my music. So it's been an incredible journey starting from 2021. My first album came out in 2022. And I released another EP last year, and I'm starting to do an album around mental health this year.
Okay.
And now, how did I become an author? So when I started to learn about the music industry, how to get my music produced, how to grow my music business, I started to work with coaches and learn how successful artists had done this, how they were monetizing, because I quickly realized that this was almost an impossible business to do. When someone had a business, they had products that they would offer to people, and people would come and buy their products, and hopefully they would make a profit that will help them grow their business, right? Musicians do nothing like that, especially when we are starting out. Because when we're starting out, you could spend as much as £1,000 to produce a song, put it everywhere, and you actually pay also to put it everywhere. And people listen to these songs for free. Sure, you could get royalties, but I mean, what are those? Not 0.03, they're like, it's less than a penny. It's a fraction of a penny. So essentially, as artists, we run a business that I can't really call it a business because people enjoy our products for free. So I started to learn about how to make this work, how to monetize, how to get the funds that I needed. And this set me down a pathway of learning, but also helping other artists do it as well. Right? So some of the ways that I monetize is by coaching. I'm the sort of person who, if I wanted to do something, I would go all in. I would learn how to do it well. And this is a big commitment for me because I'm a mom of 2 kids that are quite young, 2 under 10. I'm married. I was a full-time pediatrician. I had a lot going on. But I not only started to learn how to produce music and actually release it, I had to start learning how to promote it. And I started to learn how to actually grow a business and monetize. Then I started to learn how to coach and get clients. So it's been a real journey, but the reason why I made such a huge commitment and followed through is because I realized that all of this is linked to my calling. It took a lot of money, took a lot of energy on my part, but it brought me an amazing sense of fulfillment. And that's where I'm going. Because when you can find your calling, when you can find something that you're passionate about, regardless of what it costs you, it makes you feel fulfilled. It makes you feel alive. And essentially, for you, it's worth it.
Yes.
Because it brings you so much sense of a purpose. That feeling of, this is what I was born to do. This is my reason for being. The fact that whatever you're doing is actually helping people. It's solving a need and serving actual people. And you can see the growth, you can see the change, you can see the trajectory, you can see the impact you're making. So that's how all of this started. Feeling called to it and just walking the path.
Yeah.
It's been an incredible journey. So this book called Fulfill Your Calling,
Mm-hmm.
um, pursue your passion, uncover your calling.
Mm-hmm.
This book is a pathway
Mm-hmm.
that I've walked to go from being a full-time pediatrician
Mm-hmm.
to being an artist,
Mm-hmm.
a coach, a speaker,
Mm-hmm.
having my own podcast, a podcaster,
Mm-hmm.
and a musicpreneur, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the while still running a busy household.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially is to let people know that if you have a dream, something you're feeling called to do, it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter how busy you are, it doesn't matter how much under-resourced you feel. I don't have the funds, I'm in the red,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't, all of that doesn't matter, because there was a pathway that I took
Mm-hmm.
to get me where I am, and they can do it as well.
Exactly. I say things like that. I love what you're talking about because I speak that same thing here. Just a little side note, you're in the UK right now, correct?
Yes, I am.
What time is it there?
It is 2:20 in the afternoon.
In the afternoon. Yeah, so it's 9:20 here AM. I'm on Eastern Standard Time here in Georgia in the United States. So the reason I brought that up is because you said, you have a passion, you'll do what you want to do to feel fulfilled, to get fulfilled, right? And follow your passion. I've been following mine for like a good minute now, and I've seen the growth of my platform. I've seen it evolve into not just podcasting, but also like I do commercials for folks. I do production. I've shot other people's podcasts. I teach classes on how to get your podcast going and monetize it, all that stuff or whatever. So it's grown into this thing. And to go back to your point of you'll do what you want to do, like this morning, I was running behind. Like I literally woke up, I cooked dinner for this evening already.
Wow.
Just so
Really
I can get here.
organized.
Just so I can get here on time. I was like, oh, I got me a 9 o'clock interview this morning. I got to make sure I'm there on time. I don't want nobody thinking that, I'm not punctual or anything like that, or that I'm wasting their time, because I know how this industry is. As podcasters, and I'm sure you've dealt with this as well. Some people treat it like a hobby, other people treat it like a business and a profession that it is. And the ones that treat it like a hobby make it, when you interact with somebody who treats it like a profession, they leave a little sour taste in your mouth and stuff like that. I don't like when people are late or won't give me an explanation or something, or won't even like show up to the show. I'm like, I've had cancellations at the last minute and not even consider, or not showing up at all. So this is my calling. I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I've touched a lot of people, like you said, and I've gotten that feedback, and I didn't realize until I went through a personal situation where I showed my vulnerability, and people poured into me more than I was anticipating. The level of support in them like connecting to me, I didn't realize. And then I've touched so many people that I didn't realize I touched that many people.
Wow.
So I was like, wow, this is really amazing. The fact that, people keep telling me, keep going, keep going. They're like, we see you doing big things. They like all the different guests that I bring on, because we have these very thoughtful, invoking conversations, and the guests are dropping gems. I'm dropping gems. We're all saying the same thing, just might, say different words. So I definitely get it. So let's dive into one. I like, some of the questions that you're able to answer, and you already answered this by saying coaching, but how to grow and monetize your audience, right? Because I see that here, and I'm sure you see that in the UK as well. There's this disconnect between some artists understanding how to incorporate themselves into a business and make a business around themselves. So you already said coaching was one thing, and products, but like, what are some other things that independent artists or emerging artists can do that way they can actually keep pursuing their craft and getting better at their craft, that where it would
Absolutely.
support them financially?
Yes, such a good question. And this is one of the reasons why I do what I do with my
Mhm.
coaching. It's to
Mhm.
actually help people come up with a personalized plan for
Mhm.
them. Because we all have different strengths, we all have different skills, we all have different degrees. Some of us went to school or college or
Mhm.
uni, while some people didn't. Doesn't mean that you do not have experience from life. So there is a lot of value in each and every person. They just need to recognize it,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Every one of us
Mhm.
has tremendous value on the inside.
Mhm.
You can help people. You can solve problems.
Mhm.
Okay. And I go through this in my book a lot. I go through a pathway, a series of questions, a series of journaling prompts
Mhm.
that can help you realize the different options you have
Mhm.
that you can monetize. Okay. So I love talking to people.
Mhm.
um, this came real easy for me. I tell people that one of the reasons why I'm a medic as opposed to a surgeon
Mhm.
is that I like my patients awake and talking.
Mhm.
I
Okay.
find surgery incredibly boring.
Mhm.
So the fact that I knew I had to learn this new skill of the music industry, the music business,
Mhm.
I worked with so many coaches. I was opportune to be able to invest in myself, invest in the business. I was
Mhm.
getting a lot of knowledge that I knew that other people didn't.
Mhm.
And I was ahead of some people
Mhm.
in terms of, okay, I had already started to release music. I had already done a crowdfunding campaign. I had done things that I knew other people didn't. So I just figured, okay, I am going to help other artists along.
Mhm.
People that are behind me or need a little bit of a helping hand in figuring out the different things that I have figured out.
Mhm.
I'm going to do that. And many people get stuck by fear of failure,
Mhm.
all of these, I'm going to call them excuses because you can walk around them.
Mhm.
You can overcome these things. I mean, I did. So you can. You just need to ask yourself, how? How can I do this? How?
Mhm.
First of all, you need to be willing to learn. You need to be teachable, and you need to want it.
Mhm.
So a couple of options. I have a client who
Mhm.
I worked with, and her music business is around, well, it's I'm thinking what I should call it music business because she's not started to monetize yet. But
Mhm.
what she has done over the years, and
Mhm.
I'm talking of many years, is put music to Bible scriptures, to Bible verses.
Okay.
She has a YouTube channel that she has grown organically.
Mhm.
It's, gosh, maybe over 500 videos.
Mhm.
She's grown, people just keep subscribing, I find it amazing that
Mhm.
someone could have this really rough videos of just singing to Bible verses,
Mhm.
and people want it,
Mhm.
you know, but she's not getting any money out of it.
Mhm.
So we are working on options of how you can monetize. And I said, you know what, Karen, you need to be able to help people recognize the value in what you are doing.
Mhm.
For example, um, this is a fun way of helping people know the scriptures.
Mhm.
There are families who want to bring up their children in a Christian way, but in a fun way,
Mhm.
so it doesn't seem boring, so they can actually enjoy it.
Mhm.
Your audience, your
Mhm.
clients could
Mhm.
be parents who want to teach their children how to study the scriptures in a
Mhm.
fun way. You could say, hey, I can create some sort of study guide, right?
Mhm.
Where You do a short devotional around some key verses. Those verses, though, will be ones that you've put to music. So these kids could be listening to these things in the car, but then several times a week, they're able to sit with their parents and go through the devotionals. But can you imagine listening to the Bible in music? It's going to stick. So there's something amazing about music. It's sticky. All of those melodies that you heard and you can't get out of your head. You're like, what is this music? It just keeps going on and on in your head.
Yeah.
Imagine if you could put that to something that you really wanted to learn. If it's the Bible, it could be courses, in our studies, whatever. If you're taking an exam, sometimes putting rhythm to something you're trying to learn helps you learn it. So imagine how you can incorporate that to helping families have fun ways to engage with the Bible. So we're coming up with different strategies. She can create a subscription where she, on her website, classes or divides it into different themes, makes some devotionals, puts the songs, and then people just pay monthly to access all of these. And then we're even thinking about other ways to monetize. Apart from a subscription, you can create something more voluminous around a theme. So maybe a study on faith or a study on healing. You have a list of verses along with music.
Yes.
And people literally just dive into a study on the theme of faith or the theme of healing. There's so many ways that you can monetize your music. Another lady, one of my other clients, she's quite elderly now. She is a grandma, homeschooled. Her kids, they're both, her kids are grown, are both in ministry. And I'm like, do you know how unique that is? The fact that you've been able to homeschool your kids, and they've turned out great. They're in ministry. They just welcomed their first grandchild. And she also has been on some interviews where she talked about her marriage. I was like, well, you can monetize your life's skill. I don't know of how many people actually go to school to learn how to homeschool. Like my experience during the pandemic of having to try to teach my kids. Someone shoot me now. Like, I had no patience whatsoever. And it taught me a huge level of respect for teachers. So the fact that you homeschool your kids, well, some people might want to do this and might want to learn how do I actually do that. She's been on some interviews where she talked about her marriage, how they stay together, how they stay strong. I'm like, you can monetize that as well. So you could create some sort of course around homeschooling. Or how about monetizing your experience around marriage and just mentoring couples? You could have maybe a 6-week masterclass. You can call it whatever you want to call it. Some sort of 6-week experience around making your marriage work. Call it whatever you want to do. I'm really into finding the right names for your offers, so people hear it and you're like, oh, I want that. What's that about? But then you meet with them once a week and you go through some sort of program, different topics around making your marriage work. What are the pain points? What are the most common things that causes a marriage to struggle? You focus on one theme per week. Talk about how you experience that in your marriage, and talk about how they can, navigate it. Week 1, done, maybe 2 hours on a Thursday night. It could be in person, it could be virtual, Week 2, move to another theme. You have 6 weeks of that, and you plan to do that every quarter. So you're essentially the rest of the time you're promoting it.
Mm-hmm.
Next quarter, you have it again. These are just different ways, but also, you can also grow your community this way,
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you're releasing music and you are growing an audience, you always get an influx of new people into your world through the music you're releasing, and new people that would want to learn from you. So you monetize your audience that way.
Yeah. Exactly.
They're also thinking about starting a podcast around marriage. I'm like, this is amazing, So these are ideas that literally came up as they went through my program, and we just explored different people's experiences, different people's skills, and talked about different ways they can monetize.
Exactly. So I love that. You gave a lot of great examples. I think sometimes, people creatively, think inside the box and they're so programmed to traditional ways of things being done in the past that I'm like, the internet changed all that stuff. And I grew up with the internet. So in 6th grade or whatever, we was on the internet, and that's when it was AOL and all that stuff and dial up. So, it shows my age a little bit. But I tell people, age is nothing but a number. Because like you said, we have to go out there and pursue our dreams, and I see
Yeah.
people changing industries and stuff. So you gave us some examples. Give us an example of one of your success stories of your client.
Yes. So I have I think she was my first client now.
Mm-hmm.
She bought a program with me at I think it was my second crowdfunding project. So we were together in Dublin, because I lived in Dublin for a while before I moved to Derby, UK.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember helping her with her first album launch. So she had recorded an album, her first album, and she was having a launch party. So she put together a group of singers. We learned some of her songs,
Mm-hmm.
and we sang her songs at the events, and people bought the CDs, and it was great.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a period where there was not really much happening. She couldn't figure out how to grow her audience. She couldn't figure out how to monetize. So when I moved to Derby and then felt called to do this professionally, she all of a sudden started to see posts from me about what I was doing. She started to see music, and she was like, oh my goodness. And she got in contact with me and said, AB, what is going on? I was like, well, this is happening. I'm beginning to do this for real. And I was having a crowdfunding campaign. So I put together a set of coaching sessions, and I sold 10 coaching sessions. And she bought it. And I started to just take her through all of the things that I had learned. And when you hear of an ideal client, this is literally an ideal, because she literally walked the pathway. I was like, first of all, you need to grow your audience, grow your community. Have a crowdfunding campaign saying, guys, I am beginning to work on music and to release music around this. So for example, I'm having a crowdfunding campaign this month, starting next week. And it's because I am writing and releasing an album this year on mental health, and mental health for teenagers, because I'm a pediatrician. But I've just been seeing a lot of teens and children come through the hospital struggling with mental health. And I'm tired of it. I want to be able to do more about it, and if possible, help to prevent it. If possible, help to reduce the amount of people needing medical help. So I'm creating a resource on how we can teach skills to teenagers around mental health. And I'm talking about things like journaling, writing, and it's funny, you can monetize, you can write and monetize. Like, that's what we do as artists. We write music, but we monetize it. But there are poets out there. They literally just wrote down something and people are buying it, So just imagine if you were able to process your feelings
Mm-hmm.
by writing. And then imagine if you're able to actually earn money with that. Like, that's a no-brainer. You know?
Yeah.
But imagine if you're teaching teenagers that these things are possible. And I even have a journal that I sell. It prompts you on writing things around what you are going through.
Mm-hmm.
And I call it the clarity journal, because you can start journaling feeling distraught, feeling stressed, feeling angry,
Mm-hmm.
navigate those feelings and come out feeling completely better on the other side, feeling motivated, feeling better, feeling clear. You know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm creating this resource, and I'm like, guys, this is my project for the year. Can you give towards it? Because I need funds to promote it. I need funds to release the music. I go out on social media. I go out into the different communities I'm a part of. I get people involved. I offer them things of value. So they're not just giving, but they're also getting value back, right? And then by the time they give, when your music comes out, you have an audience waiting to listen to your music, to stream it, because they gave to it. So I went through this with her and put her in contact with a crowdfunding master, professional, crowdfunding expert who has a website, who's raised about $1 million for artists. Had her own crowdfunding campaign. Then I said, you need to start to nurture your audience. You need to find a way to let people know what you're about. What are you passionate about? How can you help your audience? How can you keep them awake and alert, knowing that you're working on music, so you can also monetize them when you're ready to. So every week she goes live, and she talks about maybe a scripture that has blessed her every week. She's beginning to build her audience. She's building her email list. I helped her set up her email list with a welcome series, right? So everyone that pre-saves her music has the option of joining her email list and getting an immediate download of the song as a way to incentivize them. So she's her email list that way. She also is growing a WhatsApp group. And every time she does these videos, she posts them everywhere. So there's a YouTube channel, there's social media, there's a WhatsApp group, and she's nurturing her audience that way. And she's growing her audience that way. And she's also raised the funds to do all of this by having a crowdfunding campaign. So, this is someone who literally followed the pathway. And this is the difference between someone who's motivated and someone who's not. I've had other clients who bought a package, didn't bother to show up for all of their sessions, maybe came, but are still dragging their feet about actually putting to work what they're learning. And compare it to this person who is highly motivated. She wants it. She went for it. She had a crowdfunding campaign. She released the album. She's, nurturing her audience, growing her audience. She's doing everything, and she's doing well. She's doing amazing, and we keep learning new strategies. Okay, what's the latest strategies on monetizing or promoting your music? And I send her to people who have worked with that was able to do a playlist campaign, and said, this guy does a really good job. He's a bit pricey, but it's worth it. you know?
Well, that's the thing, as long as you get those results.
Absolutely. So there are people who, are hungry. And the tricky thing is it takes a while. My journey has been over, we're in 2024 now. I started end of 2020, and I've gotten to where I am. And I am highly, should I say ambitious, because I do a lot. I really do. But everyone's path is different, and it can take a while for your head to get around the fact that you need to learn how to go live. Some people even struggle with that, but what can you do? just start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
What's the one thing you can start doing now in your music business to move it forward?
Mm-hmm.
It might take you 6 months to actually grow the courage to have a crowdfunding campaign
Mm-hmm.
and to ask people for money.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine, but you need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you need to stop before you're ready.
Exactly.
So there are definitely people who are doing it and are seeing amazing results. And Bola, my client, is just one of them.
That's what's up. I love it. I love when people, you know what I'm saying, like yourself, are out there pushing individuals to pursue their passion because, yeah, it's an exchange of money, but at the end of the day, like I have a mentee that I have. I've been mentoring her since I think February or March of 2023. And she's going down the same road that I went down, building a platform, working with artists, independent artists. I bring her into different projects. I put her in a commercial that I did the other day. She loved it. She's actually been in multiple commercials. And the highest compliment that she gave me the other day, and she didn't realize she gave me the compliment, was when she said, "I don't even think the same. Like, I think differently now." And I was like, "Yes, you're supposed to."
Yeah.
And you think, like, she comes to me weekly, every Friday, and then sometimes we done stuff multiple times in a week. But she loves it. Everything I'm doing for her, and I put her in contact with other people like you've been doing. And like, I tell people, like, besides doing a podcast and all that stuff, and what it's allowed me to do is it allows me to connect people to one another because I think there's a disconnect there. People trust my word, they trust my judgment, and I put them in contact with people that I feel will help enhance them. Now, what they do with that is on them. But as
Yeah.
long as I make the connection, make the introduction, because there's a lot of introverts out there, they don't know how to go out and just talk to people. But because I do this so effortlessly, like walk up to a stranger and start talking to them. Hey, how you doing? Blah 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 blah. And just have this candid conversation.
Yeah.
But that's always been a part of me. It comes easy. And I did an interview yesterday with a gentleman, and that's like one of the gifts that I have. So of course, when you intertwine your gifts with your skill set and your experience, you have this high value thing that you present to people, and that's what you get paid off of. So I love when people like yourself do that for others. It's just so rewarding in itself to see somebody be able to go out there and achieve something that they thought wasn't possible. So
Yes.
I love it.
Absolutely.
I did want to get into. I have a couple more questions for you, and I'll let you go because I know what I'm saying, you got to tend to the kids and all that. And I could talk to you all day long. But what is one thing, if you had the power, what is one thing you would change about the music industry?
I would change how people view music.
Okay.
I think as artists, it's our job to educate people.
Mhm.
Because some people don't even realize that we don't get paid for the music we put on.
Mhm.
They see the movie stars or the big signed artists to big labels. They see all of the
Mhm.
that accolade and the lights, and they think that's it for everyone. They think surely we must be getting something out of our music, and are completely shocked when they realize that we're not.
Mhm.
But also the power that people can experience through music, how music has saved some people's lives,
Mhm.
literally seen them through dark times of their lives. And helping people realize that actually there's a lot of value in our music. The fact that you get to listen to it for free does not mean it's not free. We just pay. It's funny.
Mhm.
We are paying to
Mhm.
release the music that is
It's on
doing so much good. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then people, just people recognizing that value so they can support the artists around them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when the opportunity comes to actually buy the CD, buy the
Mhm.
songs,
Mm-hmm.
they're actually then supporting. I wish there was a way to communicate the value in this more clearly so people are more aware. Yeah, every time I have some sort of concert,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have to do some education because people just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They don't realize. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. Now, the book, is that the book you've been talking about, Pursue Your Passion, that's behind you?
Yes, that's it.
When you released that, there was your first book?
Yes. Well, yeah, I've written like 2 journals, so
Mhm.
but this is my first book. Yeah.
Okay. When you released the book, did you have a certain level of expectations, or did you just wanted it to do what it did organically, or do what it's doing since you released it in December?
So my expectation is just that it helps people realize that they can do more with their lives. Now, it
Mhm.
literally came out last week, so
Oh, wow. So it's new.
yeah. I had my launch concert last Friday.
Okay.
So it literally came out, what, 5 or 6 days ago.
Oh, wow.
I'm still in the early stages of promoting it. So I'm going on several
Did you
podcasts.
happen to get the film it or anything so you could use it as like promotional material, or
Tell me again,
did
did
you
I do
happen
what?
to film your launch concert?
Yes, I did. And I
Okay.
actually had the launch concert. It was here in this room. I just
Hmm.
printed it up, put some lights up, and but I also merged it with like a planning session for the year.
Okay.
Got people, so while I sang, I got them to we first of all shared wins about our year.
Hmm.
And then we went into some period of reflection where, as I sang, I got them to journal and dream about what they would like 2024 to be like for them.
Hmm.
Then we went to writing goals down while I sang some other songs. And then we got to breaking it down into mini goals while I
Hmm.
sang some other songs. There
Hmm.
was a game. I read some pages out of the book.
Hmm.
It was actually quite fun. Yeah, but I have the replay available.
That's what's up, baby. I'm gonna let you get back to it. I've been thoroughly enjoyed this conversation that we've had. Much success to you, and I hope your book does well. And for everybody out there, where would you like to be them to be directed if they need some coaching sessions, they want to listen to your music, whatever the case may be, they want to purchase the book?
So I'm gonna put the link to buy the book in our communication, so you can put it up with your description of the podcast. I also have a course, a mini
Hmm.
course for artists that's free. It's
Hmm.
called Monetize Your Music in 3 days.
Okay.
So people can get access to that, just so they start learning ways to monetize their music. But then I also have a link to book a call with me if they want to just talk about ways that I can also help them to monetize their music.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Y'all make sure y'all go out there and y'all support AB Ogini.
Yes.
See, I said it. I got it.
I
Yay!
did.
I
Well
got it right.
done.
Y'all make sure you hit up the website if you need consultation. All the artists out there, monetize your music in 3 days. I'm like, come on. And it's for free. Y'all make sure y'all get with the course. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. Keep doing what you've been doing. And I would love to like have you back on later on to see how far you've been able to progress.
Thank you so much, Andreas. This has been amazing. Thank you.